What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in tonight to the Among the Ashes podcast. We're your hosts, Wes and Chris. Tonight, we're going to dive back into part 2 of No Pain, No Gain with Drake Pittman. Tonight, he's going to discuss his first attempt at a podcast called Pass the Jar, which was very successful. They hit the top 100 a couple of times, as well as a new project he's got that he's working on with some buddies of his that's called Hootin and Hollerin. And then he's going to discuss his newly released media company called Red Jayde Media, where he helps new digital creators get their feet wet in the digital creator world. So everybody sit back, grab a drink, grab a snack, relax, and let's get ready for part 2 of No Pain, No Gain with Drake Pittman. Moving past all of that stuff, we're obviously all jacked up, but thank God we're all moving forward. Talk to us about some of the stuff you got going on. So you had a podcast for the last 3 years, is that what we said? It's called Pass the Jar.
Yep.
Pretty successful as far as a local podcast anyway, I would say. You were in top 10?
Top 100.
Top 100?
Yes, social and culture. Just society and culture. Cracked top 100 twice.
Okay.
So, big shout out to the people of Walker County.
Right.
Listen, which I looked at the demographic map and there was a lot more than I thought. And I was just like, I looked at that once and I never looked again.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't balloon to the head.
Well, big shout out to the people from Walker County, but I would say big shout out to you for making an impression on people in Walker County. I think about Eric and Old 64, like nobody thought that was going to work. You know what I mean? I heard so many people say he's going to go bankrupt, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and dude, they're rocking it.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what
awesome.
I mean? Like I shaved my head, and I feel like I cheat on them because I shaved my head, and I'm not a customer anymore. Now Keegan started going, so he took my place, but like he even loves it. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things when you go in there, like even if you don't have a relationship with them, you end up leaving with a relationship. And I've known Eric since high school, and like super stoked and super proud of him for chasing his dream and doing what he's doing, but also thankful to the people of Walker County and surrounding counties for supporting it. But a lot of that's got to do because Eric is just a good dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so is Sammy and the other guys, Blaze when he was there, all of those guys, Jason, anytime I go in there, they just, hey man, what's up? How you been?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you've never left, So I would attribute a lot of that to him as a person and the relationships he's built, and throw that your way because you've done the same. I mean, you built the same relationships and friendships, and obviously I have some good friends who stand behind you and say, hey, go listen to this,
There's a lot of, we had 100 episodes, and there's a lot of those episodes where friendships that I have now stem from.
Yeah.
With people that I'd never talked to before that.
Yeah.
That now I talk to like a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Eric being one of them.
Yeah.
I'd been going to a shop for the longest before we even started recording, and when I started floating ideas to him and my friend Mason that opened up Twisted Barley in Jasper, started floating around the ideas to them. They were like, do it, dude, try it. And, I'm not a Joe Rogan.
Sure.
By any means. But people just called me Walker County's Joe Rogan, and it's like, if that's how I wrap this thing up, cool.
Yeah, I'll take that.
But I never let it get to my head because for me, I was just trying to show people like it's not as such of a crap hole as you make it out to be. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
there's different thoughts, different thinking process that we all have as human beings, and in our little corner of Alabama, that's cool.
Well, when people hear Walker County, they think meth.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of.
That's why I got moonshine.
Right. I do know, for a long time, I don't know if it's still this way, but no one place to hire a hitman years ago was Walker County.
Yeah, that's
You know
true.
what I mean? That's a fact,
Yeah.
There's no telling how many bodies are in Smith Lake.
I don't want to know.
You know what I mean? And like legit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that lake's so deep.
Well, that's a whole city under there.
Yeah,
Like town or whatever
yeah,
it was. So,
yeah.
no.
So, but, Walker County, as unique as it is, it's a hidden gem. It really is. There's a lot I wish would come up to the times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seems like it's kind of stuck in the past, but at the same time, that's the beauty of a small town. Everybody kind of knows everybody, and if you don't know them, you know of them, and you know who you can trust, who you shouldn't trust, things like that, But they go into Dora High School, I can honestly say, and even looking at the other schools, like their fans in Walker County, the just high school football fans are different.
Mm-hmm.
than any other place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and well, at least around here, to me, you know,
As far as every single school is concerned, absolutely.
they're about it. They're there. They support it. You know, and I think that speaks a lot for that community. You know, I don't live in Walker County per se, but I'm close enough. I patron there. I go there before I go to the county that I live in. You know,
You could throw a rock and hit it.
I could.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of just good people there, you know, and they're willing to support, but there's also, you know, a lot of other junk there too, which I guess is everywhere, you know.
That was the great thing too for the podcast is, you know, you always have that anxiety of asking somebody to come on. You're like, they might say no.
Tell me about it.
Out of 100 episodes, I only had one no.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
was
that's
just somebody
amazing.
that was just like, it's not really my thing.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I'm like, cool, no big deal. I'll still talk to you if I see you out in public.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you have that fear of inviting them to your house or wherever you're doing it, the air conditioner not working. Then you got to start recording and it don't work and you spend an hour doing that.
I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times that crap happened. Like,
That didn't happen to us.
so many technical difficulties.
Yeah. And that, you know, that was a big fear, and it's still a fear of mine in this, you know, but everybody I've talked to that I know, they're like, there's select few that I've asked because I know their stories. All of them are like, heck yeah, I don't know what I'll say, but yeah, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, I've had I don't know, I've got them written down there in my book, probably 50 people, 40 people between different podcasts I listen to and people that are, you know, I mean, everybody's got a story. You know what I mean? If you give somebody a place to talk, they will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing with this is like, I don't, you know, Chris asked me and other people when we started, what's it about? People still ask us, it's about nothing. It's about, let's just sit down and talk. And obviously didn't plan on spending an hour talking about what we talked about, you know, but it's okay because it's organic and it's getting out there. And if it helps somebody, it helps them. And at the end of the day, if nothing else, we know that we're not alone in the way that we feel and what we go through, you know, and that's the beautiful thing of doing this, and the support of the people around us that we know is that they're willing to help.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know of really anybody in our community that I know that I couldn't call right now and say, hey man, I need some help, and they'd be there, whether it be podcast or whatever, you know. Maybe it's that way everywhere, but I know it's definitely that way in this area for sure.
Yeah. It took me a minute to kind of get the wheels off the ground because, yeah, I was from Dora, but I was new to Jasper.
Yeah.
But, you know, it took a while to kind of just get people to see what we were doing. It took me getting a few episodes out,
Sure.
you know, to see that people are like, oh, you know, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because the biggest motivation, other than my wife telling me to do it or I'm not going to let you, was there was a podcast about my hometown, a true crime podcast.
Mhm.
I'm not going to shout out its name because I don't like the image it's given where I grew up.
Sure.
But that was my biggest thing. I was like, I want people to not just know us for a true crime podcast.
Yeah.
And if it's just the people in this county that listen to it, cool. But I need to let people know, like, I left here and could have easily stayed gone.
Sure.
But I came back and now I like it here.
Well, you know, Walker County, I mean, it's not a bad place to live, you know. I mean, there's good pockets and bad pockets just like anywhere. I mean, where I live, if you drive 5 minutes off the mountain here, it's horrible,
That's what I always
you
tell
know.
people.
But you go 5 minutes the other direction and it's great again,
Yeah.
you know.
Name a big city and I can tell you 10 other things that are wrong with it just like it is here.
Exactly.
So why not stay around the people, my people?
Yeah.
that
People I
love?
know,
Yeah.
yeah, people I know that have my back. In spite of their flaws, they have my back, you know.
Like when I moved to Cleveland, it was such a culture shock for me because nobody was the same.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we were all Church of God kids, but at the same time, you had people from different states, different countries that thought differently,
Mm-hmm.
that had seen life through a different lens. And it kind of shaped me to be a better person and make me have a better appreciation for Walker County.
Well, and I think we need those journeys. We need those things that make us appreciate where we came from.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I can't appreciate moving forward in my situation in life had I not had the bad situation that I had, you know. And it's all about perspective and the way you see it. But I do challenge people to get out and see things more, but don't don't bag on where you're from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never
Because
will.
it's really not as bad as you think.
No. So it was kind of easy for me to kind of get that going after I came out of my shell again, because when I was in church and stuff, I was a drama leader, all that kind of stuff. And I was used to being on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I kind of went back into the back of the crowd again, it took me a while to come out. So it really helped me to put myself out there, to not be so anxious.
Yeah.
And not want to be around people.
Right.
Now I'm still 34 years old and I like being at home.
Yeah.
Like,
and
as
that's
soon as
me.
I finish this, I ain't making no stops till I hit Jasper.
Yeah, well, I've gotten 2 or 3 texts from my wife who wants to go to Rock and Roll Sushi, and it's like, I'm so glad we're recording because I don't want to go. You know what I mean? Like, I love people, but I don't like crowds. I like to be at home. I'm a homebody, and
I never thought I would be, but
Have you ever noticed though the people who don't really want to hang out with people always seem to attract people?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that's how I am, and I know that's how you are, and I'm probably Drake. You're probably the same way. It's like, no, I don't want to hang out, but then it's like people's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Let's hang out, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
When I'm unavailable, people want me available.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
And that's 50 weeks out of the year.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, I would rather be at home than going out or hanging out at your house as to going out somewhere. But I also know that there's a lot of good that comes out of that. A lot of people you see. I hate going to Walmart because we're in Savannah, Georgia, and I run into somebody I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in freaking I've never been to Savannah at this point. First time there, and I see somebody I know. Like, what's the freaking odds of that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my problem.
Are they from Walker County?
They were.
What?
Well, they weren't from Walker County, but it was Don Diggs.
Oh, what?
Our freaking
No,
worship pastor
seriously?
of all people.
Oh my gosh.
In Savannah, Georgia, and we're both off on the same
That's
weekend on
random.
vacation, and neither one of us knew it. You know what I mean? But that's my thing with going out. It's not that I don't want to see people and don't want to talk to people. I just don't want to see people and I don't want to talk to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was kind of the evolution with me over those 3.5 years, but I did pass the jar. The first year, I was like, these people are coming on my podcast. I'm kind of obligated to go out and support them. To the last year and a half of it, I was like, we're recording a podcast on Wednesday. Brittany, I'm yours for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
I ain't leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
It kind of transitioned to that because it kind of felt like as much of a service as they were doing for me for coming over to interview, like me knowing how many people it was reaching,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, God, I'm doing you a solid.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. And, as many times, hey, what's the numbers or whatever? Like, I didn't like talking numbers towards the end of it because I didn't care.
Right.
At the end, I was like, we're hitting home stretch.
Yeah.
Getting us through here now.
So what made y'all decide, hey, this is it, we're done?
So,
I mean, if you want to talk about it, you don't have to.
There was multiple times where I would tell my best friend, co-host Shane, dude, I'm tired. Just want to be a regular, go to work, chill out kind of guy. He's like, are you sure? And then when he had asked me if I was sure, I'd think on it for a week or two. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't play golf as much. I don't fish as much as I used to. That's what I love.
Yeah.
So we kept going, and when we hit episode 75, we had originally called it quits because we had a deal.
That.
We had a deal with what we thought was a legit deal from a place in Nashville to do a country music podcast. So we started doing that, and once again hit top 100 after 3 episodes. And I was like, oh, we'll kind of roll with this, and then it was just like, just not feeling this because now it feels like work.
Mm-hmm.
Having to listen to all the new stuff coming out, having to review all this kind of stuff, it just feels like work. I don't like that. So we brought back Pass the Jar. I was like, we're going to hit 100. We'll call it a day. We'll release episodes sporadically, as we feel like it. When we hit 100, our 99th episode was with Eric Nix and Matt Mitchell, who we look up to, consider legends around here. And a couple weeks after that episode, Eric texted me and was like, hey, you and Shane want to do a podcast with me and Matt? I was like, I'm a yeah. I don't know what Shane's going to say, but I'm a yeah.
I've told Keegan for years, like, I don't understand why Eric doesn't have a YouTube channel of the shop. And maybe it's just because everybody's in there and it's more work and liability and things like that. But it's like, I would freaking watch that. You know what I mean? And part of it's the shop environment, but part of it's just Eric, you know.
Yeah.
Just like, dude, you could do this, you know. Anyway, sorry.
No, and they're two people I've come to know as friends now. So when they asked us to do that, I told Shane, I was like, hey, if we don't ever record another episode of the Pass the Jar, I'm totally cool with it. It may come back one day. Who knows?
Sure.
You know, I'm a never say never kind of guy. But then I finished up some courses for social media marketing, and because that's something I'd always wanted to do. So I started up my own agency, which may transform somewhere down the line because I'm still learning.
Right.
All that. So I was like, in reality, I'm not gonna have time to do Pass the Jar anymore, and neither is he. Between a new podcast and this thing I had going on, and life, and my family comes before anything.
Right.
Like, I was like, it's time for a rest.
Yeah.
And there was. We recorded our last episode in November of Pass the Jar. So we didn't start recording this new one with Eric and Matt until 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Like, it's just been planning. And those two dudes have worked hard on the set for that. Major props to them for that.
Yeah. Looks good.
But it was just nice to have that breather. And in between that, my granddad had come to live with us and stuff like that. So, look, I've definitely got to put my family first. To make sure, first off, I get time with Brittany. That's the biggest thing in my week. And still work and everything else. Because there was multiple times I had to call into work because something was going on with my granddad. I'm like, if this gets me fired, it gets me fired. But thankfully, I have an understanding boss.
Right.
At my 9 to 5er, more or less, 6 to 6er.
Yeah.
So when I decided it was it on Pass the Jar, I felt peace for the first time because I never really felt at peace as many times as I talked about ending it. But this last time, I felt peace with it because I was like, I kind of did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Built a brand. Built myself as, now if I do something else in the community, people will know it's legit and know I'm not going to be a poser.
Right.
And I've more or less the friendships and relationships that came from that. That's the best thing to me. Plus, I got to spend more time with my best friend.
Sure.
And I miss it sometimes, like the interview aspect of it, just getting to know people. But at the same time, I find myself listening to other people more. Yeah. Absorbing it. And I used to tell people, like, if you ever see me looking at the computer, it's because I'm watching the time or the levels. It's like, I'm listening. Right. Thankfully, I have ADHD, but I can multitask. Right. So, yeah, we wrapped it up, and I consider it a success. A lot of people have tried and failed.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I mean, it's definitely one thing in starting this and doing this and the process of it for me is originally it was just me and I knew I wanted to do it, and I thought, well, I could get on and just share my faith and things like that, and it's like, it's not that I don't want to do that, not that I'm not going to do that, but I just didn't feel like that's what the Holy Spirit was telling me to do. I didn't feel like that's what the direction God's leading me in. For a long time, I didn't have anywhere to do it. I didn't have the equipment. I don't have the time. I don't have this. I don't have that. Well, we sell her, and I could have done all of that where we were at. I could have just made it happen. We sell our house, we move here, and I mean, we've got this room we're in. It's a freaking closet. You know what I mean? And I start thinking, I was like, well, I could do it up there. So I start talking about it again, and next thing I know, for Father's Day, Candace buys me a mic, and Christmas, she buys me this and buys me that, and it's like, okay, I guess I got to do it now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm scared to death. Nobody's gonna listen to it, or they're gonna whatever. But then it transitions into, I really start feeling like I should ask Chris to be a part, and I know his schedule. I know Alicia and the kids come first. I know that in his mind. I don't even have to ask that question. And I know he knows that I wouldn't say, hey, no, you got to do this over that. But I don't know, probably 6 months before I even mentioned anything to him about wanting him to be a part. But we're talking about it, and he brings me an iPad. So I start looking at trying to how to just record audio through an iPad. And I hate to research. I'm not a research person. So I call him and ask him questions, I know I'm bugging the crap out of him. And then we're up here and, I'm trying to get set up for it. And he's, hey man, I got a desktop you can use. And he brings it and it's like, okay, maybe I should be asking him, not because he's contributing. He's wanting me, or I'm speaking for him here, but I feel like he's wanting to push me forward. You know what I mean? Like push my dream. But
I didn't want you to have any excuse for not doing it,
because
right. you would find it. You would be like,
100%,
well,
that's
that's a silver computer, and I really want it to be black, so I'm just gonna have to wait a minute.
That's me. Like, I went out and got different things because I want things to look a certain way, and really, you don't need any of that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I mean? Nobody cares.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's like black and yellow.
Yeah, but then I ask him, and then now even still, I'm constantly like, hey, look, if this is too much, let me know. If you can't be there, then let me know. I'll try to reschedule.
You'll know when I have like a panic attack during one of these podcasts, and then I just start crying, and then I punch him. Wall.
Yeah. Well, so the funny thing is, like when Chris is ready to go, he just leaves. He don't say bye. He don't shake your hand.
That's me.
No,
he's like, hey man, I'm out. And you look, and it's like, where's Chris? Where's Alicia and the kid? Like, when did they get together and say they're leaving? You know what
I mean, I've got to be really like I'm tired at that point though.
Yeah, and he hits a wall.
Yeah,
when he hits a wall, he's done. And I've known that about him, for years. And he assisted me in a youth group and things like that. And really was my right hand person in my mind at 17 years old, 18 years old. And so I honestly feel like we're supposed to be a part of something together, doing something together. But there was a big fear in me asking him, And then there's still that fear of him wanting to do it to help me, but he doesn't really want to do it. But at the same time, I know him well enough that when he's tired, I say, hey, man, I'm done.
No, I won't say I'm done. I just walk out.
Yeah, just walk out.
I'm just going to get up right now.
So you guys have ended, but not ended past the jar, I guess.
Yeah, we still keep it as a media brand.
Yeah.
We still post to Instagram and TikTok and our Facebook because we like making content.
Sure.
And it'll help kind of keep us having fun more than anything.
And keep it relevant if you bring it back.
Yeah.
Like Space Cow video.
Oh man, don't bring that up. Oh, that was old.
So in doing so, you transitioned into Hootin and Hollerin.
Yeah.
With Eric and Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Now Matt is a social media guy.
Yeah.
Started the Ostrich. And I remember when that come out and everybody's trying to figure out who it was. It was so funny.
It was good.
It was, man.
Nobody knew.
He didn't care. Like he would, religious stuff, political stuff. He didn't care. He put it out there and it was freaking funny.
Yeah.
And I remember so many people being offended, especially, the Christian side of it, because, he'd make a joke like we talked about earlier, and, it's a post, but nobody knows who posted it. But then he would come back and maybe post something that was of faith. You know what I mean? It's like, well, is this guy in or is he out?
Yeah.
So that's
lukewarm.
Yeah, that's going around for a while. And then, his social media takes off, which is freaking amazing being from where we're from. And he does that full time.
Yeah.
You guys move into that. So it's you and him and Eric and your old co-host Shane.
Yes.
And you guys are launching.
I don't know when this will come out, but it comes out April the 22nd.
So you're officially starting.
Yeah.
Something launches April the 22nd. Yeah. So.
Oh wow, that's close.
Yeah. So everybody look them up.
Monday.
Like, you want some good, funny guys, with the exception of Drake. Listen to that. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. It'll be fun.
That was an easy yes for me because both Matt and Eric both are very creative people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I saw that as an opportunity to learn from both of them
Absolutely.
a little more.
It's kind of like a crossover episode or something.
Yeah, I mean, we had done multiple episodes with Eric and Matt, but the last one that we did was both of them at the same time. And that's when they were kind of like, that chemistry's there.
I was going to say, whenever you can put something together, and like I'm loving Rick and Bubba, like I listen to them, but I don't really care for them, but like they have chemistry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why they've lasted 30 plus years doing what they do. And when you can find that with somebody and do something like this, it makes it all the more better. Yeah. Makes it successful for sure.
I'm very grateful because, for Matt to ask us to do that with him,
it's humbling.
It's like, okay, well, maybe not seeing him pass the jar become my full-time job.
Yeah.
But being asked by somebody the stature of Matt and with Eric, their creativity, it's like, maybe this is making it as far as podcasts goes for me.
Right. Yeah. And maybe one day we can interview Matt. I don't know, so I don't want his whole background, but like, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't really have any background in this. He just started doing the ostrich, and then it led into Matt Mitchell, whatever his shorts are and things like that. And he's freaking hilarious. The SEC stuff, all that junk, and he just made it. Yeah. He just made it work. And I know some of it's luck. Some of it's getting in the right vein and getting in things at the right time. All these TikTok people that have made it, and I hate TikTok. Everybody's got TikTok brain. If it ain't 15 seconds, they don't want it no more. But like a lot of people got in that at the right time, therefore they grew big, Yeah. But their content sucks. But you take somebody like him who's genuinely funny, and just makes it work.
Yeah,
it's pretty huge, especially, and I guess it's that way with anybody who has a local quote unquote celebrity from where they're from. But there's just not a lot of that in Walker County. We have a lot of athletes.
Yeah,
we produce some athletes and stuff, but
that's what I think sticks out to me about Matt and Eric both is they're guys that work their way to where they are.
Yeah, they put in the time,
and it's different than being an athlete.
Yeah.
Eric's a barber.
Yeah.
That's what he tells you at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, even with an athlete, you put in the time, but and I'm not saying it's by any means easy to be an athlete and get to a certain level, but everybody expects athletes. When you get there, it's like, well, yeah, you've been an athlete your whole life and you're good.
Yeah.
But whenever you do something like this, 15 or 20 years ago, we'd have never thought about doing this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things social media wise. It can be a huge tool. It can be a huge hindrance. But to be able to take something that you put your hands to, and it's the same thing. Please, athletes out there, both of you that's going to listen, don't take this wrong. But I'm not saying that you don't put forth effort and work, but as much as being a rock star or an athlete's an unattainable dream, to me, this is really a lot harder to do than getting into I'm not saying getting in the music business or an actress or an athlete's not hard to do, but this is just something that you have nobody backing you.
Yeah.
No coaches, no agents, no nothing until you get to a certain, you have to do it all by yourself until you're at a point to where people notice you, which I guess is the same thing with the other stuff too. But either way,
I see there's four guys
pissing somebody off,
have built good brands that are, just kind of joining forces to make fun stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you're all in different sects and different avenues, and you've taken and built something and then able to build something off of that.
It just happens we're all from East Walker.
Right. Well, I mean, it's
the best part.
Yeah, that's what we was talking about last night. So, we used to have Space Cow Videos, which was a YouTube thing way back when I was in high school.
Man, it was on MySpace. What are you talking about?
It was on MySpace too. You're right. But in today's society, it probably would have been huge.
Yeah.
But I was just too ahead of the game with it. It just stinks.
And I've had those moments in my life where it's like, when I was young, we were in the drama ministry, at church, and did a lot, went a lot of places, done a lot of things. But you fast forward 10 years, drama ministry really took off. And it's like, man, if we would have been in the right vein at the right time, but at the same time, we were where God wanted us to be because we were touching people's lives,
I took a lot of inspiration from my drama stuff from y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
I even told Gweed that at the time they played the show that I spoke at.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think back on, and it's like, well, I may not have received the fame and the glory for it, but I can see the fame and the glory through somebody else by something that I was a part of, and that's huge too,
Yeah.
It's kind of like Abraham and his kids.
Yeah.
He didn't see all of them, but it spanned generations.
Yeah.
So.
And it's nothing I've done or that you've done. It's all the good Lord, in my opinion. But so Hootin and Hollerin airs next week. Well,
it's out now.
Yeah. It'll be out by the time this gets out because we're not launching until June. So go check them out if you hadn't already. And then you've started your media company.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little about it.
Red Jayde Media, just a social media marketing agency that I'm probably about to start adding some other social media aspects to where I can be creative outside of just podcasting.
Yeah.
Because I make good food, one thing, good healthy food.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can make a full pizza for 800 calories that has 80 grams of protein in it.
You know what I just heard? Want. Well, I heard pizza, and then I heard want.
I was following.
Try my protein pizza, and you'll be like, okay.
Oh yeah.
That
sounds. And then just fun stuff I can help people kind of better their lives with as far as diet goes. Plus, I kind of came out on shell, and I've learned I'm kind of funny when I'm
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah.
Thanks to Shane. I attribute a lot of that to Shane because I told him, I was like, you've rubbed off your comedy parts on me.
Sure.
And I'm like, all right, well, guess I got some of that now because I'm good for one-liners now. And I used to never be good for one-liners. So more or less, like I kind of just want to, with right now just being a social media marketing agency, I just want to help like local businesses. Well, they'll pay me obviously, but to grow their social media presence through the use of SEO, search engine optimization, handle their Google campaigns, Facebook campaigns, stuff like that. Just through the way I learned how social media works and what trends I need to pay attention to.
And I think that's something that I know for sure. I didn't know up until, the last 6 months and doing research and then talking with you, talking with Chris. There's certain things you plug in that in your descriptions and things like that a lot of creators find out once they're in it, So if you can offer that advice to somebody to help them maybe boost them a little faster.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I can go out and create content with them. My client right now that I'm working with, I went on a job with them. Just took pictures, videos, and stuff, and did all kinds of stuff with it. That way I can post out for them.
Yeah.
Like 3 times a week. That way it's not an everyday thing because, I do have a full-time
Sure.
job and family too.
Sure.
I'd love for it to be my full-time job eventually. If it's not, I can say I tried it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I'm happy doing it too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's key is feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
And, whether you can get rich and hate what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And be miserable. Have all the money in the world, but you're just miserable. And you could be broke and ecstatic. You know what I mean? Because you're passionate about what you're doing.
That's what I've said. Like, my job has given me a great life. My wife, her job too. I'm like, I'm living in a nicer house than I've ever lived in, driving a nicer car than I rode around in with my parents, stuff like that. But not too long ago, I started like, I just feel like it's lather, rinse, repeat, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thankful I have a job, especially one with the schedule I have and, an understanding director that I work for. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to do this till I'm 65.
Sure.
I'm 34 and night shift's wearing on me.
And you're going to wake up and be 45 or 44 before you know it. It goes fast.
And that's why I was like, I'm going to look busy and have a lot going on, but one of these things is going to click to the point where I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because healthcare is a thankless job.
Sure. 100%.
And
just like ministry.
That's why I like doing all these side projects. Everybody's like, do you not get tired? I'm like, if I can use my brain in some other source where I feel like something's going to eventually come from it, I'm going to hit the right chord eventually. That's the thing is my fingers just constantly moving around on things until I feel that right pulse. Like Passage R was the pulse. And I stuck with it.
I think that's why so many entrepreneurs you find, even though they're struggling, they're happy because, we're created in the image of God. And God's a creator. So we're creators. We just don't realize it.
Yeah.
And the people in my life that I know that are the happiest are the ones who create something. They may be flat, busted, broke, and it fails, and they create something else and it fails, but they're happy that whole process because they're creating. They're not just participating in somebody else's dream. Like my job, I love my job. I work for a great company, great owner, great bosses, everything. I love them. But you know who reaps the benefit of that? The owner.
Yeah.
I get a piece of it because he's generous enough to hire me and, they take care of our insurance and it sounds a lot like your job. If I need off, family's first. I work for a great company, but ultimately I'm not creating for myself. I'm creating for somebody else.
Yeah.
And anytime I've ever been what people would call a passion project, I guess, it may not be making me rich, but it's making me rich inside in other ways, and it's making me happy because I'm seeing, even if it fails, I'm still seeing fruits of my labor along the way, not fruits of my labor for somebody else.
And that's for me.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no. Like for me, that's what I think ultimately led to Passage R doing what it did is because I stopped trying to chase it as a job.
Yeah.
I was like, if people are enjoying the content and giving me downloads. I may not get paid for it, but that shows what I'm doing is making somebody else happy.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
Yeah.
So if podcasting ever is a job, cool. If not, cool. I'm still happy.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've looked at the social media marketing. I was like, I'm going to give it this first run with a client, look through a contract, see how it works. And if I think I can push through and eventually get, a few more where I can quit my job, cool. If not, I can say I tried it, but I can apply those skills that I learned somewhere else.
You tried it, you learned something, you helped somebody. Even if you're getting paid for it, you're still helping them. You're building a relationship. You're getting to know somebody maybe you didn't know before. And who knows down the road where they can help you,
See, like you're a free podcast consult. I didn't charge you. I would have charged somebody else.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man.
Hey, no problem. I'm just kidding.
Bro.
I'm glad you asked and not me.
Yeah.
I've just multiple people have reached out to me, and I'm not a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Like I want to see you have fun and succeed.
Yeah.
Like Ghostbusters.
Why keep? And to me, I don't know Matt personally, but like he seems like that type of guy. And there's a couple of people that I listen to on podcasts that I reached out to that they're freaking accessible, and they have high listens and views and downloads. And one guy in particular that I listen to, I just sent him an email, say, hey man, I'm starting a podcast, and you got any advice? He said, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he fires an email back off, and then he's like, is it on this topic? I was like, not really, but I would welcome that. He said, well, if there's anybody that I've had on the show that you're interested in, let me know. I'll ask them for you. Well, I can't pay them. I don't pay them.
I don't pay people.
You know what I'm saying?
I never gave anybody a dime.
And that's the thing. I think that's the beauty of it is what good is it if you figure it out and you just keep it?
Exactly.
What good is that? You're not going to see any more fruit. In my opinion, or you may see the monetary fruit, but you're not going to be happy,
I don't want to look like that butthole.
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side of that, I know there's some things I just got to learn.
Yeah.
I can't go to you or go to Chris every time I got a technical issue. Sometimes I just need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Not that he's not willing to help or you're not willing to help, but some things I just need to learn on my own. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we're there to lift each other up and help one another. And who am I to get to keep the secret sauce?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that was me. I watched 20-something hours of YouTube.
Yeah.
Just to learn how to start.
Yeah.
And now I can just tell you how to do it through an email or text message.
Right.
Or a quick phone call.
Right. And I'm very grateful.
No problem.
Appreciate that. So check Drake out, Red Jayde Media.
Yeah, Red Jayde, and the J is Jaye.
Jaye. Red Jayde Media.
That's my mom's middle name.
Yeah. And then check out Hootin and Hollerin. Give them guys a follow and a listen and a like and all that good stuff.
Is that going to be a podcast, the Hoot and Holler?
Yeah, it's video and audio. Okay. So you can watch it on YouTube or listen to it on your podcast platform.
Yeah.
Choice.
Yeah. So check them out, man. If you want to laugh, you'll laugh.
Yeah, you got to see a couple of clips.
Yeah, a couple of clips I watched are pretty freaking well. It's funny to me, but my humor's that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just, keep an open mind. It's not negative. It's just, if you look at it through the right lenses, it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think the good Lord's
we're all
there
twisted
laughing about
minds.
it. Yeah, for sure. Well, all right, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, follow Pass the Jar 64 on TikTok.
Yeah,
we're pretty active on there too.
Yeah, keep boosting that up. Keep pushing them guys forward. Let Drake know you love him. Let Shane know you love him. Pretty entertaining. Pretty funny.
We try.
I can't vouch for Shane. I don't know Shane, but I know you. And you're like I don't want to say my kid, even though, well, I guess theoretically you could be my kid. Well, I'm a little brother. There we go.
That.
Yeah. Chris.
It doesn't make it as weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make it as weird, right? Yeah. Right. So, yeah, check that out. Pass the Jar 64, Red Jayde Media, and Hoot and Holler, check them out. And if you haven't already, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to us. Like it. Leave us a comment. If you're on Spotify.
Hey, I appreciate you.
For what?
Having me on here.
Oh, yeah, man. I appreciate you coming.
Good luck.
Yeah, I hope it is.
To the moon, baby.
I hope it's something, it's not about, would it be awesome to be able to sit here in my little closet/studio every day and be home and do this? Me and Chris, 100%. It would be awesome, but
It's not as long as it keeps you happy, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I've had such a good time just sitting here doing this. And honestly, like, this is the first thing we recorded. Probably will not be our first episode, but it's going to fall into that when we release. But my anxiety levels, just getting all this set up and getting everything working and making sure it's going to work. Did we buy the right equipment? Probably not. Do we need something else? Probably so. Getting here having technical difficulties. Like, once we, being anxious about how do we get it going, intro, all that stuff. Once we got going, like.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because, like, you have the notebook over there and you have all these things that you're going to talk about, and we probably didn't hit any of it. Maybe two of the three, maybe two of the 5 things.
Yeah, we hit it. But, that's my MO. Like, I would write sermons and my notes sit on my pulpit.
Oh, so you'd pull a Drake, you'd say.
And I would preach everything on that note and never look at it. And we've hit everything that I wrote down right here. Yeah.
Did we really?
Stop doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
let it happen.
Let's just have prayer, everybody.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, that's the thing. If we'd have just come in and had prayer tonight, we're not prepared at all. So, but yeah, awesome. It's all that anxiety, I guess, of the fear of not knowing. It's like it's not as hard as you think it is. It's weird talking into a mic and a camera, but it's not as weird as
I think if, like, even if, like, one person gets saved or changed, encourage something just from this podcast, like, even just one person, like, if we had 3 people listen and one person got touched by it, then I mean that's doing something.
Yeah, it's definitely huge. So. I mean, and even for me, like, I feel better. I knew you went through stuff. I knew you went through stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I mean, obviously, I know your parents passing that affects you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I've never known the level that it affected you. You know what I mean?
Oh man, you don't know half.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Because I tell you everything.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. I don't talk about a whole lot.
Yeah. But it's encouraged me to know that I'm probably not as jacked up as I think I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you are.
I mean, I'm not jacked up. But anyway, so yeah. So we're gonna end it right here, guys. Thanks for listening. Like I said, leave us a like, leave us a comment, subscribe, all that good junk, whatever platform you're listening on. Hootin and Hollerin, Passage R64, Red Jayde Media. Check him out. Drake, thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, man. See ya.